What's up, guys? Welcome to Fantasy Smack Talk. Nameco and Dustin here. A lot of stuff going on in fantasy baseball, so let's get into it.
We're going to start the show with one of our favorite segments, and Do You Believe the Numbers? We're going to list a handful of guys off here, Nameco, and see what he thinks about them. We're going to start off the show with Trevor K.
I believe.
Oh, man, I hope he doesn't keep it up because he gets to punch me in the face if he ends the season with an ERA under 3. It's looking pretty good for him right now. The guy's been pitching amazing, but I still think there's a good chance of him trailing off. If you can trade him now, go ahead and do it. I hope he trails off. All right. Lance Berkman.
I don't really believe Lance Berkman right now. He seems to always get banged up, and sure, he's playing great right now, but he's definitely a sell-high candidate.
Do you believe Ben Zobrist?
I believe in Ben Zobrist.
He believes. Zobrist is one of our biggest guys that we liked going into last year. Definitely disappointed, but he has a lot of talent, and his position eligibility is awesome. Just another reason to like this guy. We think he could keep it up and have a solid year. What about one Alfonso Soriano?
I don't believe about this guy either. Much like Berkman, these guys, they're big names that are playing well, so try to sell high on them right now. With that said, don't just give them away in a trade. They might have more value on your team than you really get in just, a mediocre guy for them.
All right, our last guy, Jared Weaver.
I believe in Jared Weaver.
He has been pitching lights out so far, the best fantasy pitcher so far this year. That being said, we think he could easily end the year as a top 5 starting pitcher, but if you can get, first overall starting pitcher value for him right now, go ahead and trade him. We don't know if his value will be higher than it is right now.
All right, let's get into that waiver wire, and before we get into it, make sure you go on to FantasySmackTalk.com. We're going to have a full write-up with all of these guys, plus more, so obviously we're going to help you win some championships.
Can't fit everybody.
We're going to start off with a Gondo, the pitcher out there with the Rangers. I love this guy, only owned in 70% of leagues. God, I do love him. Dustin knows.
He does love him.
He was going to go back to the bullpen, but that's not going to happen because he's pitching lights out. Make sure he's on your team.
Then the guy I love is Bud Norris. I've been a Bud Norris fan all year. Only on 40% of leagues, which is surprising. He's had at least 6 strikeouts in every single outing so far. Especially in 5x5 leagues, this guy has potential really helping your team. Pick up Bud Norris. He could be the real deal.
Next, we got Smoke out there with Seattle, only owned in 40% of leagues. This is insane. Last year when he was a rookie, everyone was drooling all over him. He was owned 100% of leagues, and he played awful. Now he's playing great. Nobody's picking him up. A lot of upside, obviously. Grab him.
Last must-add is Brett Gardner. He was dropped in a lot of leagues. People gave up on him. He's only on about 70% of leagues right now. He's starting to catch fire again. It's time to pick him back up. It looks like he's going to start doing what people were hoping he was going to do.
All right, now for those deeper leagues and the guys to keep an eye on. We're going to start off with 2 that we talked about a couple of weeks ago. Brett Walsh and Matt Joyce, owned in 35 and 15% of leagues respectively. We talked about them then because we liked them. We're talking about them now because they're still playing good. Deeper league, if they're available, grab them.
Next, we got a guy who's really kind of confusing me why no one's picking him up, and that's Wilson Ramos, young catcher out there with the Nationals, only on 15% of leagues right now. He's got a lot of upside. He's batting well over 300. We like this guy over some of the older, kind of more steady Eddie guys like Suzuki, guys like that. Pick this guy up and see what he can do. Great gamble in our opinion.
All right, now I'm going to talk about 2 young guys that were recently called up. The first one was called up today. That's Hosmer with the Royals. Love this kid. He was on fire in AAA, batting over 400 with decent power. He's going to be the everyday first baseman, and this guy just picked him up in our expert league. Kind of happy about that.
That's okay. I got Smoke a couple weeks ago.
I wanted Smoke, a long story. Next, we're going to talk about Scott Sizemore, second base for the Detroit Lions. Last year he was called up. He played awful, but this year, they're saying he's going to be our everyday second baseman. He's 4 for 8 right now. Second base is a shallow position. If you need help there, deep leagues, got to grab him.
Next, we got an interesting starting pitcher for you, and that's Vance Worley with the Phillies. Only on 10% of leagues. He just recently got called up to fill in for Joe Blanton, and I don't know if Blanton's going to have a job. Worley's 2-0 so far, ERA under 1 with a K per inning. Interesting young player. You might want to pick him up.
All right, Dustin, now we're going to close with the closers. See? Makes all sense.
Terrible.
Keeping it easy for the fans.
Terrible.
I know it's terrible.
A lot of developments going on in closer land right now. The biggest one is out in Houston with Mark Melancon. Only on 15% of leagues. He's the new closer now. Lions out. Frank Francisco, another guy to keep a very close eye on. We say go ahead and pick him up. We think he's going to take over the job from Roush. He was just kind of keeping it warm for him.
It's definitely time. Grab him.
It's time to pick him up. Sergio Santos, no clue why he's only owned in 50% of leagues. He's been pitching amazing. It's his job to lose. Pick him up with confidence. And the last closer we're going to talk about is Sanchez out there with the Cardinals. Only on 10% of leagues. This guy has a big upside. They just called him up. He's got closer potential, obviously, because they pretty much threw him almost in there just after a few outings from getting called up. He could be the real deal, but he's going to have a lot of ups and downs. But we do think he can
Just as terrible.
You like my little, you got to have a little graphic. But that's it for our bi-weekly baseball show. Get into those forums. Ask us any questions. Brent and I will be back in a couple weeks.
Peace.